It's been 2 weeks since we've checked on this worm bin, so let's open it up and see what we got going on. We fed them some of our clippings from our garden last time, so I'm excited to see how they broke that down. I see a bunch of fresh castings right at the top, some active worms, and no bad smells or pests. So I mean that's a great initial look. So as always, let's start over here on the right side where we have some more of the finished castings. You'll notice the cover I took off right at the beginning. I didn't cover this part up, and it's to let this side get a little bit drier than the rest of the worm bin. That's because the worms don't like it that dry and they tend to move away, which makes it a lot easier for me to harvest from here when I'm ready, when I need stuff for my garden. It's not full of worms, so I don't even have to sift them out or anything like that. I can just pull them out. So this is really just here, ready and waiting for me whenever I need it. Which is it's a great form of nutrition and perfect for seedlings and starting new plants outright. Like for example, when I start new seedlings, I drop a handful of this in the hole and then I put the seedling on top. All right, this looks good. Just continue to break it up. Make sure I'm not seeing anything that's problematic or any big hunks of unbroken down food. Not really seeing any of that, so that's good. Just nice, fluffy dirt. With happy worms. Look at that. That's that right there on that little thing on this worm. That's a worm cocoon. So pretty soon a little baby worm's gonna pop out of there. Oh, there's another one here. So there's multiple of them here, right there. Little worm cocoons. So yeah, they're thriving and reproducing, which is, you know, what I want, especially because I could probably feed this bin a little bit more than I have. I've got a little bit more worm scraps, or I got a little bit more kitchen scraps that I could feed them that they don't quite manage to get through each time. So you can see there's some younger worms, which means you know, the population's at least holding, you know, at least being stable. But if they have enough food, the population will go up. So that's the goal here. Okay, so I mean they've broken down everything except for these mango pits, which I keep moving along to the other side as I see them. But let's get into the section that we fed 2 weeks ago, and let's see how much of that's left over. So we gave these are like tatsoi plants that bolted, and this one hasn't really been eaten too much. Let's see how the other ones did. Oh wow, what do we have here? What do we have here? Look at that. It's not quite a worm ball, but they definitely know where the food is, and they're going for it. So even if they haven't quite finished it off yet, they will. They'll get to it. And I see all kinds of different ages of worms all put together. So that's what I like to see. They're red and healthy. Let's dig in some other place. So I'm feeling through this. This feels maybe just the tiniest bit dry. So I'm gonna add some water along with it. Like this, if like water's dripping off of it when you pick it up, that is definitely too wet. Imagine like a sponge for the sink, and you've wrung out all the water, but it's still like quite damp. That's kind of what you want. You don't want easily, water just falling out of it. That is definitely too wet. But some of this feels like a dry sponge, which is definitely too dry. A sponge that's been sitting out on a counter for an hour. That's too dry. So let's add in some more food. I do see a little bit of leftover. I'm not seeing a whole lot. So really all I'm seeing here is bedding. Some bedding's a little too dry and a little bit left food. So I'm gonna give them a full feeding today. They will probably get through it. And I'm also gonna add some water when I'm done. So I'm gonna start with my bedding. This is just the shredded cardboard. I just shred some of the newspaper and cardboard boxes I get every day. And that's perfect bedding. And then, as always, I always supplement their food with my coffee grounds because it's really easy for them to eat and they love it. That way I always have at least something for them to give, because even if I don't cook during the week, or if I do cook, I don't have any trimmings from the cooking, I will always have coffee. So that's a high nitrogen, easy for them to break down. Just mixes well into the bedding. It's just a good source that I happen to have that they love. This week was a pretty good week for kitchen scraps. I'm actually gonna not do it all in one layer because I don't want it to stack up too much. That was a little bit too much. I'm gonna take it back out. Because if it all gets stacked up together, they can't really like get to the stuff in the middle. So you kind of want like a single layer so they can all get around. And if you're doing that, what I can do is take some of that dry bedding I had left over, and this stuff's pretty wet, so I might not even have to add all that much water in the end. So take a single layer, and then take some of the stuff and layer it over, and now I can put the rest of it on. So that'll give them some space in between to get at it. And if you see this on the carrots here, my wife went ahead and ground up some of our leftover eggshells, which is really good for the worms, because the worms have, there was a cucumber that went bad. That's why it's so watery. Worms have gizzards like birds, so they need some type of sand or aggregate to like help them grind up their food. And eggshells are just a perfect, aggregate for that. So some more kitchen waste that we can use. And then I'm just gonna finish them up, cover them up. And then, like I said, I was worried it was a little bit dry, so I will add some water in here on this side to soak in. So I'm gonna add that in right now. And that'll just soak all the way in and absorb into all that cardboard that I added. If it was like too wet, I would add extra cardboard. So that's just how I keep the right moisture level. Too wet, more cardboard. Not wet enough, more water. And there's no holes there in the bottom for drainage. It's just way easier that way. Plus I live in a dry area, so that I'm actually more worried about it drying out than I am worried about it getting too wet. So that's it for this time. I'm going to cover them up. And this was a big feeding. So we're gonna look forward to 2 weeks from now and see if they've gone through all that. So see you in 2 weeks.